Organissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.organissima.com. Organissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty. Organissima, New York.
Back to the iHealth channel, the FitnessFab channel, iHealth Radio, with your host, Hurricane Age. New show, new topic, new guest. And I'm going to just talk a little bit about something specific today, which is the world of essential oils. And I have a guest who knows this world better than most. And in the fitness, the wellness, and the health, we always try to look at something new, something good for your health that can do good for you. And we've talked about holistic. We had guests that talked about different things that are more plant-based, nutrition, all the natural pieces, right? I mean, there's the regular medicine, there's the Western medicine, there's the Eastern medicine, there's a holistic approach. We've talked a little bit about spirituality and everything, but today we're going to focus on this particular concept of essential oils and what they are, what they do for you, how you can get them, where you can get them, and also all the different reasons why we should have them. Now, our guest actually has a very unique story, and it's a motivational story. It is literally a good inspiration for all, and most of us will actually be literally like, wow, what a journey. And that's exactly the purpose today is we want to share the journey for inspiration and motivation, but also we want to share the content of what is the health piece here today, which is the essential oils. So without any further ado, I have Melody Watts with me. Hi, Melody. How are you?
Hi, good. Thanks so much for having me.
It's a pleasure having you here, and we've been looking forward to it. It's been a minute since we booked the show, and so I was excited. We here, and I'm sure people are going to be watching right now and listening, and they're going to be like, okay, let's talk about this. But first things first, as I had mentioned, we'd like to hear about your story because it is a very inspirational story, and a lot of people today can probably relate to it. Some may be stuck in the middle of your range somewhere, and they're not sure how they even proceed and how life can turn around and be better for them. And maybe that can help us today, just at least in part of the show, share some of those insights and help people feel that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Everybody can be successful, and you are a very successful person. And we're going to talk about that later on. So we're going to talk about all that. So let's start with that, Melody. What is your story?
So, well, we'll start with my essential oil story because I think that's really where the magic started for me. So when my son was about 3.5 years old, he had this cough and he just would not quit. I tried everything natural that I knew. We did chiropractic, which I'm a huge advocate of. My children were born at home. They were adjusted since the day they were born. We did everything natural. So when my son developed this cough, I was really just annoyed more than anything. And I felt helpless too, as somebody that had been involved in natural medicine for a decade at the time. I felt really helpless, like there was no answers. And so I begrudgingly went to the doctor, thinking maybe they can help me. And, and nothing against, by the way, I love mainstream emergency care. I think it's awesome. I just don't think our healthcare system is designed to help people heal. And so I kind of knew going in that I was probably just going to get a prescription, but I was hopeful. I was like, maybe they'll tell me what the source, maybe they'll tell me what's causing this. Well, they were like, we don't know what causes this. This is just what happens. We're going to give you steroids or allergy meds. And that's just not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted to hear. I wanted to know why he had a cough. And I think that that's the big question a lot of moms want to know. They want to know why. They want to know what's going on with, their children's health. And mainstream just does not have answers, especially when it comes to inflammatory or autoimmune conditions, such as asthma, allergies, even autism, ADHD, all the A's, all those are autoimmune inflammatory conditions, the immune system malfunctioning. And there's no answers in mainstream medicine for autoimmunity. It's like, take steroids. That's all they have. Steroids and painkillers. They don't have any lifestyle tips. They don't have anything. And so I was very frustrated when I left that is all they had to offer me. So I was looking for something. I wanted to know what was causing this inflammation in his lungs. And I was praying actually for a solution. And I came across doTERRA essential oils, and I was told to put it on his feet and his chest. And he slept through the night without coughing for the first time in 6 months. And then I slept for the first time in 6 months. And it was like, I woke up with so much hope. I'd tried essential oils before from the grocery store, Vicks and whatnot. And there was something really different about this breed. I like to call it a breed of oils because there's so many hundreds of types of qualities. It's an unregulated market. So of course there's so many different sources where people can get essential oils. And so for me, having this work, I wanted to learn everything I could about essential oils. I wanted to learn why it worked, how it worked. And so I had my first essential oil class where I took a class and I learned that, 70% of prescription drugs come from natural botanicals. So for example, peppermint, the main constituent is menthol. So menthol is something that scientists have taken and copied and patented. They've pulled this chemical constituent from the peppermint and they've used it mainstream. That's just one example of how natural botanicals get turned into pharmaceuticals. And so this was like the peppermint in its whole form with all its chemical constituents, with the menthol, with everything else that goes along with it. And wow, the result is so much better. Like, let's not improve upon Mother Nature because it's already so amazing, right? And so I had this aha, oh my gosh, I feel like this is the missing link between modern medicine and alternative medicine, because alternative medicine, there is no regulation, and I don't want it regulated, but if we're talking about regulation, I'd like to keep it unregulated. But because there's no regulation, and there's no patenting nature, there's just a lot to sift through. And so for me, it was like this missing link because of the purity, the potency, the testing, the regulation that doTERRA oils chose to put on their oils made all the difference, which is why we have a lot of medical partnerships saying we've never been able to test these before because of purity and potency and consistency. And now we're able to test these. And so, there's some really great testing and clinical trials going on just with doTERRA oils because no one in the medical field is willing to work with other brands. And so I just had like this big awakening. I felt really empowered. And then I started using it for my own things like head tension and sleep and stress. I became a single mom shortly after. And for me to be able to have these tools at my fingertips was so empowering. And so I actually started sharing it just with my friends and people that would come to me for health advice, because I was had this reputation among my friends and family of natural and could fix things. And part of that was just my own healing journey. And so I started to share these oils. And while that happened, let me just back up just a little bit. So my son, not only were we able to clear his cough and have him sleep through the night, because I chose to look at what was causing the issue, which was environmental toxins and GMO foods. It turns out he has severe chemical sensitivities, which is a very common and rising problem because of the chemical load in our environment right now being, so much more than it was even 30 years ago. So because of that, he had these chemical sensitivities, which we're seeing all over the place, that cause neurological problems, neurological delays, that cause digestive issues, that cause inflammatory conditions in the gut. And when you have inflammatory conditions in the gut, you're talking about your nervous system, your neurotransmitters, your serotonin, your dopamine, like everything. And so if I would not have looked at the cause, my son would have grown up basically what I like to call in the medical treadmill. First, it would have been allergies and steroid meds. Then it would have been, and he also had eczema. Then it would have been ADHD meds. Then it would have been anxiety meds. Then it would have been insomnia meds. And, my son would have been a walking zombie if I would have stayed in that medical treadmill. And so many mothers I know can relate to this story, right? And so I chose to change the diet. I chose to look at environmental toxins. And yeah, is it a little bit neurotic to have to remove chemicals from your environment that you've been swamped in for the last 30 years? Yeah, it's a little bit neurotic, but you got, if you want your children to thrive in today's environment, you really have to slowly start to remove these toxins from your environment and your food, especially your food, but also even just environmental toxins in your home, your cleaners, things like that, your perfumes, all these endocrine disruptors that affect the cells and the nervous system and the gut and the mood and everything. So I just started to remove all these toxins little by little from my home. We started to repair the gut, and his cough, went away. And he genetically, I had his genetics tested, and he's genetically predisposed to things like anxiety and ADHD and insomnia. Like, he doesn't genetically produce great melatonin, like his, that's just genetically how he was made. And so for me to be able to kind of biohack my way into going, what oils help with melatonin production naturally in the body? What oils help with serotonin, which converts into melatonin? And being able to go, nature has all these answers. Like, if you go outside and you go pick the pine needles from your pine tree, whether it's a fir or a pine tree or a cedar, whatever kind of tree it is, a cypress, you can actually just go like this, and you will smell those essential oils. We'll take those essential oils and put it under a microscope, and they are these beautiful structured chemical constituents that are so incredibly medicinal and therapeutic, that have just been created for us, just sitting there, and all their intelligence, all this innate intelligence put into these essential oils. And like, are you kidding me? Mainstream medicine's not using them. And so for me to be able to take those and bring them mainstream, like what doTERRA has done, and teach mothers how to be healers in their home and be empowered, has just been so incredibly rewarding, to be able to do that. So that's my in essential oils. That's how I started using it, and just seeing moms get results all the time after frustration of no sleep or of rashes or of earaches. And just be able to, I had a mother come to me one time because her daughter had a horrible diaper rash because of the antibiotics that were prescribed for an ear infection. And so we went ahead and we gave her oils to soothe the ear. We gave her oils to soothe the rash, of course, diluted with some zinc and some coconut oil and shea butter. We gave her, and she called the doctor's office, and they're like, we don't really know what to tell you. It sounds like she's having an allergy to the antibiotics. Like, she's just going to have to tough it out. And I'm like, come on, this isn't the 1950s. Like, we don't have to tough out a diaper rash that's caused by an allergy to an antibiotic. We can actually, we actually do have options. And so, overnight, to have that mother call me and say she slept through the night, her butt is no longer red, and she's not tugging on her ear anymore. Like that, nothing is more rewarding as an essential oil advocate. So, and that's just like the tip of the iceberg, like, we don't just teach people how to use it for proactive healthcare, but we actually teach people how to really transform their lives, starting with their mindset that they have the power and that we have the tools. Wow.
That was a pretty deep, and brief at the same time, introduction to the world of essential oils. And I can hear the passion in your voice, and how well you really love what you're doing, and how the experience that you've had, has been a life-changing one. And I know for a fact, people listening, and even if they're not listening right now, there are a lot of people out there, millions of people right there, probably looking for solutions that are, natural in the source, right? From the source.
Cheaper and safer and more effective.
Yeah, that's right. And you hit on a key element of the reasons. You search at the reasons why your son had those allergies, and you find out that he was extra sensitive to the chemicals around us. And that's a big deal. because we almost, at the minute we are born in this world today, you are surrounded by all these, man-made, or man-manipulated, if you want to call it, products, because they're natural ingredients. Some of them are, chemically engineered in the lab. But when you put them together, they're not really as natural as nature needed, for it to be used, right? So that's the bottom line. And some of it is good. Don't get me wrong. Ultimately, it does serve a purpose. But to your point earlier, you also mentioned that it may not be for healing. It may be just to stop. It's more like preventative at the time. Maybe to your point, it's an ongoing thing. So this way, you basically are almost hooked onto them. It's just like any other drug. I mean, literally, not pun intended. Drugs. I mean, that's what they are. But we call it medicine drugs for I guess a good reason. But again, so there is an economic factor to it, and and there's all kind of different angles here. But really, if we were to just stop time and we all go back in a century, and we can revisit, our approach to the world. Like literally, sometimes you get the question, if you had one thing to change in your life, if you could go back in time, I can guarantee you, if this question is posed for everybody, a lot of things we would like to change in our world today. And one of the things is maybe we can probably save a lot of lives. I mean, we say that we save lives today with modern medicine. And by the way, I have nothing against modern medicine. Actually, it does work. There's breakthroughs and stuff. But there is also that almost relationship between, you have all the medicine, the advancement, but you also have this almost reliance on the medicine that is available through chemical engineering. And that's the other thing. But there is a movement today that has been, more like escalating, and more available and more, I guess, vibrant, if you want to call it that way, in the world and in the Western world as well. And that is the holistic approach, the botanical stuff, the ancient medicine, using traditional stuff, plant-based food, avoiding the GMOs and the chemicals. And I mean, again, you mentioned chemicals earlier. We're talking about food that we can buy from the stores today. It's not organic, and even organic, there's a question mark about that, but we can talk about that as well. But it's not organic, and so there's pesticides, insecticides. I mean, there's so many things that these things have. Shampoos, things that we use daily, like you said, during household, supplies, things that you use for cleaning. It's all chemicals. Everywhere you go, it's chemicals. Like you can't escape. And then you have all the stuff in the air that we inhale. I give you an example. I mean, you mentioned allergies. Everybody today almost has allergies. You cannot possibly know someone that doesn't have some sort of an allergy. Even allergies that I could not even understand why they existed, that didn't exist before. Like I grew up, I never heard of, well, it's not I never heard, but it was very uncommon to find people with peanut butter, for example, or peanut, allergies. But now it's almost a very customary thing. A lot of people have it, and there's more of that. I mean, there's this whole tray that they use to just identify how many allergies you have. And when you get that test, it's forget about it. It's like, I mean, luckily I don't have it. I have just the seasonal ones, but some people may have all of them. And so now you have infusions, all stuff. It's crazy. But your approach was, let's find something natural that is out of the box, if you want to call it that way, and really go into the source. It's all around in nature and touch. And it's not regulated, as you said. And to your point, I mean, it's funny you said, I don't want it to be regulated, because that's a unique approach. But you're right. It's not regulated because it's kind of like secondary markets, right? It's okay. People are not paying attention. It's not as proactive as the regular mainstream pharma, right? So that's the difference. But in essence, it's a way that it's still approachable, still a good place to be, still raw. It's not as commercialized, if you want to call it that. Once it gets very commercialized and they look at it, then things can get a little tough. Approvals, this, that, the other. But on the flip side, there is a level of resistance or hesitation. And like, to your point, not everybody is going to put all the potency in the products. You don't know what people are saying, what they're given. There's more of that as well. So there's always a risk. Mm-hmm. But you discovered a company, doTERRA, right? That's the name of the company, that had these essential oils. Now, you mentioned just the menthol, a specific one, but there's more products, right? And we'll talk about some more. Then your son went from having all these problems to not having any. I'm assuming he's a teenager now, so it's been a little over a decade, and things are better for him. He's just living the life and enjoying it. And since then, you've studied more about this. You've shared these values and these magnificent products with others. And today, so now we're going to go to the next level here. And you made a living out of that too. And you help other people make a living out of it and be successful. So we will, focus on that part in a minute. So I just wanted to, I was just wrapping up a little bit what the introduction was, and also just kind of highlighting the fact that it is a need. We need more of this. We need more of the natural, the plant-based, the holistic stuff, more the non-chemical, without any chemicals, chemical free, in our lives. Hopefully, I mean, sad to say that, in the last year and a half, I mean, almost 2 years now with COVID, right? Statistics and studies have been made to show, just when we had the lockdown over almost the world, that even the atmosphere has healed itself to a degree. So just to show you that the impact and the footprint that we leave as humans, when we intervene in the way, the course of nature, we can affect it badly. But when we kind of stop and take a break, I mean, nature does, provide for its own and supplies the good stuff. And we just need to focus on that. And there is not enough. I mean, there's awareness. Like I said, there are people out there that are advocating for these things. But is there enough people out there? I don't know. Can we do more? Definitely. Can we do more to promote these things and these solutions and these products and these ways of living a better life? Again, I've had so many guests that we talked about natural, plant-based nutrition, holistic stuff, different approaches from Eastern medicine. And they're all valid things. They work, they're effective. They've been actually in play for years and even centuries. I mean, some of these things actually date back centuries, millennia. And they're effective then, they're still effective now. We just don't want people to know about them. You mentioned chiropractor, acupuncture, some of the stuff that's been always used for, from traditional Chinese medicine, for example. And they're all effective, but we don't tend to use them much because we are conditioned to, the minute we are born, TV shows us commercials and the pharma, for example, and again, nothing against pharma, but when you look at, for example, any medicine, if you see the video, whatever, the commercial, you love it, but then you hear all that disclaimer and you're like, wow. That's when you start like wondering, like, all right, whatever. I mean, and it's prescribed to you sometimes. And you never, I have not seen or heard of any doctor that actually tells you all the bad stuff that's going to happen to you if you take this medicine, but they know that the medicine is going to solve the problem for that point. And that's really what it's meant to be. And you're right. It is for immediate satisfaction, to stop, and it works. Don't get me wrong, it works. But is it a long-term? No. And natural stuff is long-term. And if you, to your point, you started removing things out of your life that were not good, not healthy, and your life changed in terms of the health life, right? But then you found your motivation, you found your passion, and also a good way to make a living. So now we can transit to that. So let's talk about doTERRA. I mean, I've never heard of it. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if some of the listeners would have heard of it. First of all, is it only in the US? Is it, all over the world? What is it? When was it, started, and how does it work? And what are some of the products and products that they have?
Well, doTERRA doTERRA means gift of the earth, first of all. Cool. And it started in 2008 in the midst of a recession. And their goal was really to find an essential oil that didn't exist in the market, that was pure and that could be effective and that wasn't altered, by perfumeries or brokers or people that wanting to make more money. They really wanted to find a pure oil, and nothing existed on the market at that time that was a pure oil. The essential oil industry had really run rampant with the perfume industry and the scent industry. And so it's very easy to take an essential oil from nature and copy it, stretch it, dilute it, adulterate it, spike it, which with chemical constituents to make it smell or feel a certain way. It's very easy to be manipulated. And what I think people need to understand is that everything that you consume, whether it's on your skin, whether you breathe it in, whether you eat it, whether you think it, everything affects and tells your DNA how to behave. So when you're using chlorine bleach in your home, that chlorine steals receptor sites from iodine, and iodine is necessary for proper thyroid function. So it basically tells your thyroid, we don't have enough nutrients for you, so you're not going to be able to function properly. So that's just one example of how something in our environment tells our DNA how to misbehave or behave. What I love about essential oils is at their core, they turn on good DNA. They tell your body how to behave the way that it was genetically designed to behave. So we've seen this in multiple studies, that they have this innate intelligence to go in and turn off bad DNA and turn on good DNA. So we talk about genetic expression, epigenetics. Essential oils are at the forefront of that movement. So doTERRA is very dedicated to pursuing the purest of the pure in every practice. from the sourcing to the sustainability to the ethical farming to everything. They have over 46 sourcing teams. They've put over $130 million into their sourcing initiatives. No other company that uses essential oils or that sells essential oils has done what they've done. So nobody is able to duplicate that model because they've been the only ones that have done it. They're the only ones willing to invest and do it the right way. And it just wasn't being done right in the industry. Farmers weren't getting paid on time. They were over harvesting plants. They were collecting them in plastic instead of glass. There was all these practices that weren't really concerned about the quality. It was just concerned about the money, right? So doTERRA, as opposed to organic standards where you fill out an application and maybe once a year you get a visit from an organic certification, sometimes, and you pay $2,000 for it. This is where doTERRA actually has 46 sourcing teams on the ground working with growers, making sure that the practices are exactly the way they need to fit their certification, which is certified, pure, tested grade. So that's one thing that I think is really important to understand is they came into it really pursuing what was pure. They didn't want any outside money. So all of the owners mortgaged their homes and their 401ks, which was really quite dramatic because they were debt-free. A lot of them, they owned their homes. They were big advocates of being self-reliant financially. So for them to mortgage their homes to instead of take outside money so that they made sure that the company had the integrity, it was a pretty big deal for some of the owners. I mean, can you imagine mortgaging your home to start a business? It was just, they had to have this vision and belief. So that's the origins story of doTERRA, right? And when they started to take this mainstream and they started to, instead of focusing on some of the, hippies, they started bringing it mainstream to moms. And they're like, you know what, we're going to bring this mainstream. So everything from their marketing to their branding and everything was to empower the everyday mom in their home. And that's exactly what they set out to do. And so now we have, almost 12 million consumers using doTERRA. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. There's so many ways to use the oils aromatically, topically. doTERRA oils can be taken internally. We've been doing it for 13 years. And environmentally. So they have, the cleaning products, everything is created in a way that it's non-toxic, that it's not going to turn on bad DNA, but that it's effective, that you're still going to have clean laundry, that your stove is going to be cleaner than if you were to use the chemical, that your hard water stains are easier to get out with lemon essential oil than the expensive chemical that gives you a headache. So everything is made to be more effective, more affordable, and safer. So that's really their goal, is to empower people in their homes. They have wellness tracks for pain. They have wellness tracks for respiratory, for immune system, for stress, for sleep. So they have these wellness tracks. You don't have to think about what product do I need. They just put you in a track and it gets delivered to your home in a very simple, usable form. Because again, we're retraining Americans how to take care of themselves. So it comes with instructions, like, here's how you use the sleep oils, because people will grab the oil and they're like, what do I do? I don't know what to do with this, right? So it comes with instructions. It's like, oh, if you want to do it, aromatically, it's in a diffuser, or you put it in your hands and you breathe it in, and you have these little olfactory receptor sites right here that directly interact with your limbic system. And so it teaches you all that stuff when you get it in the mail. And the reason they chose to go through reps as opposed to buy it from the grocery store was so that we could sit down with other moms in their homes and open their oil box and show them how to use their oils, because we've never been taught how to use natural medicine as a society. We've never been taught that we have the power. We've never been taught that our bodies can heal if we give it the proper tools. We've never been taught about the nervous system, the digestive system. We've never been taught about how stress affects emotions or stress affects your health. All those things we've never been taught. So when people have anxiety, for example, and they feel a pit in their stomach and then they have digestive issues, most people would not say, I have digestive issues because I'm stressed. They would say, oh, I must have eaten something, or they immediately connect it to something physical, when we're able to bring to their awareness, do you know what? It might be stress.
Which is true. Stress does affect, yeah, definitely.
And so they just don't make it. So instead of reaching for the digestion oil, we might say, let's reach for the serenity or the balance or something that's going to calm down your nervous system. And then guess what? You might not have the the runs or the constipation or the gas or the nervous cat poop or whatever it is that you might have, right? So like, that's what we try to teach people, how to listen to their bodies and be in touch with their bodies. And so, so we have oils for emotions. We have oils for physical needs. We have oils for temporary relief of like head tension and soft tissue, inflammation. Like we have oils for all those things, and we really teach you how to use them. So that's why they chose that model. And I actually wasn't fond of it at first, because I'm not a fan of network marketing because of the culture that I've seen in a lot of different companies. I've seen a culture that is competitive. I've seen a culture that is just really they care about you selling their product rather than getting you a result with your health. I've seen a lot of hype, empty promises, things like that in that culture, a lot of slimy sales tactics. And so I never was a fan of that model. But because I was approached with my son's cough, and because it gave me a result, I chose to share with others. And the way that I always did it was, it always came from a place of, I care about getting you the health results that you want. And so because it felt authentic to me, I decided to do it as a business. And I didn't really know much about the company at the time. I just knew that they gave good results, and that I didn't feel like a piece of meat when the person was sharing the product with me. So I didn't look like dollar signs, to the person that was sharing the product with me. And so because of that approach, it's kind of a funny story, because I actually couldn't afford the oils at the time, but they were doing great things. I had no money in my bank account. And so the person that shared with me was like, well, if you want to host a class, like I'll give you some free stuff. And I was like, okay, I will host a class. But if you start like drawing circles and start talking about how people are going to make $1 million, like I will send you out the door. You're not going to solicit my friends and family to do your network marketing company. Like that was my thing. Right. And so she came, she's like, I promise we're just going to talk about how to use oils. And I was like, okay, we're going to keep it right there. So we sat down, she did the class, and all she had was a little sign-up sheet that said, would you like to host a class? Fill out your name. And it was so easy. And after the class, when I learned what oils do and why they work, I just was like, oh, I'm doing this as a business. I don't care if it's not marketing, like I'm going to do this. So I started just sharing. Did not know anything first thing about building a network marketing business. I'd never done it before. In fact, over 70% of people that do doTERRA have no network marketing experience. They come in because the product helped them. And so most of our people come in because they just want to heal their lives. And so what I found was, as I started sharing the product, that about 20% of people that I brought into as a consumer decided they wanted to do the business. And so where I was at the time is my husband had just left me. I actually was a real estate agent, and I had lost my license because I overstated my income on a home loan in 2007. 2009, the FBI knocked on my door and said, you overstated your income on a home loan. We know that 1 million Americans did this, but we're targeting you because you're a big real estate agent, and the government wants to make an example out of you. Like they were so straightforward about it. They had like no shame. They're like, we're just targeting you. We know that everyone did this, but sorry. And I was literally like nursing my 9-month-old at the time. And I was just like, what? Like I didn't overstate my income. I gave the bank I gave them all my documents. Well, the documents never got turned into the underwriter. So that's how stated income loans worked. And so nothing was done. Nothing was done right. So they were like, yeah, sorry, we're going to make an example out of you. So I was sentenced to 15 months in a federal prison.
Wow. Because
I overstated my income on a home loan, because the government wanted to make an example out of me. I was in the news. I was in the paper. I'm a felon now, all the things, like all the things that the government, doesn't care that they ruin your life. And basically they're like, well, it's your fault for overstaying your income. They don't take any kind of personal situation into it. It's just very business, not put another felony on our, record. And that's all they cared about. And so it was really devastating. So the day I was sentenced, my husband actually left me. And he was like, this has nothing to do with the whole government thing and you overseeing your income. He's like, I just don't feel like we're a good fit. I just felt like maybe it's a good time to get divorced. And I was like, what? And it was just came as a shock to me. So I was already in this place of trauma when when it happened. I had already been using essential oils, but it was 2 months after I started using oils that I got basically sentenced. So I wasn't able to start my oil business. I was just sharing here and there. So long story short, I went to prison. I got out. I had halfway house time. I had house arrest and I had good time. So I was in prison for 7.5 months. Shortly after I got out, my ex-husband had moved away. So my kids were being raised by my parents. So he moved away. They were being raised by my parents. And then my mom died in a car accident right after I got home. So it was like one thing after another for my kids. And like their primary caretaker had just died. One went, I went to prison, their dad moved away, and then their grandma died. It was like boom, boom, boom. That all happened within like, 7 months. So I'm out, I'm on house arrest. I'm able to work. And so I start taking my daughter to daycare. She's 3 at the time. And the second day I pick her up, her face, she cried both days, all day. Her face was just beet red from crying all day. It wasn't like, oh, I dropped her off and 10 minutes later, she was happy. She cried the entire time I was gone, whatever, 6 or 7 hours. So that second day when I picked her up and she had like the lines on her face from her eyes being swollen from crying all day, she didn't know if I was coming back. She didn't know if grandma didn't come back. Dad didn't come back. Like my mom is back, but I don't know if she's going to leave again. Like she just had all these things going on. And I just knew at that moment that I was done being a slave to a salary, trading time for dollars, trading services for dollars. I knew I needed time freedom if I was going to heal my children emotionally. I knew they needed me to not put them in daycare. And so I was just done. I was like, I'm done with the mainstream way of making money. And so I went home that day. I never took her to daycare again. I got on food stamps. I started my doTERRA business. And, within a year, I was one of the top ranks. Within 2 years, I was in the top 20. And now I'm in the top 10 at doTERRA, and it's a multi-billion-dollar company. And so for me, the reason for my success was 2 things. I knew that this business, that the oils were a gift from God. I prayed them into my life. Then I realized the business was a gift from God, that it gave me the time freedom that I needed to heal my family. And so I knew that it was good. I knew that it was a good thing. So that's one thing that helped me with success. The second thing was all these gifts that I'd been given, I felt like I needed to pay it forward and go put my knowledge, my time and energy and talents into sharing the product and the opportunity when appropriate to people that needed it. That's what I was going to spend my time doing. And so when I decided that I was here to serve humanity with my gifts and talents and my knowledge, my business just exploded even more. And so I find that when you find your purpose, that's usually what happens. The money usually follows. And when you're using your gifts and talents the way that God intends you to use it, then you really can maximize. So the business has been so fun, almost as fun as teaching people how to be empowered with their health, right? It's just as fun to see people become financially free and have that time freedom. So that's my story.
Well, that's a few books actually, and a couple of movies that we can come up with right now. I mean, it's just I'm listening to your the whole story and all the events that occurred. I mean, you didn't catch a break. I mean, listen, for what it's worth. I mean, whatever happened with I know the income statement, the stated income business that was in practice in real estate and the mortgage industry was just a recipe for disaster. And I know after the 2008, I mean, I have been in real estate. I teach actually real estate on the side in New York. I'm a licensed instructor, and it's funny because I was there since 1996 doing this, and obviously in 2008 that whole system changed when the regulations came back. They came back more severe, and certainly they started cracking down on a lot of things. And to your point, if you can't document it, you're just it. And I guess that you were just the one that they wanted to set an example with rather. And yeah, I mean, it is sad, and unfortunately, everything else happened at the same time. I mean, listen, I have to give you, I mean, credit for withstanding all that and still surviving it no matter what. And you had no other options and you made it. And then again, your mom passed on, the kids were little. I mean, it's every single reason why people literally get depressed and anxiety and God forbid sometimes even go, nuts. I mean, that's quite what it is. It's not easy to hear that and to deal with it. It's one thing to listen to it and like, okay, it sounds like a good story, but if you live in it, it's a whole different world. And again, it doesn't help if you've been incarcerated and that's all over the news and people don't want to talk to you. You're unalienated. It is not going to be fun, and you've been through it. But you never gave up, and that's the inspiration and the motivation piece. And
well, I
and
think people need to realize too.
Yeah.
That like I needed a big wake up call in my life. I was not living my purpose. And so I feel like those chain of events put me on the path I was born to be on. And I was not going to find it where I was doing real estate, married to the person I was. I was so in a place of disconnect. Like I didn't even realize how miserable my marriage was until I got remarried to the love of my life. Like I was just in this world where you don't get divorced and you stay happy. And like, I didn't even realize, like, luckily my ex-husband was like, no, we are miserable. Like I thank him to this day. I'm like, I'm so glad you left me. Cause like, we're both married to other people that we love and we co-parent great and everything. But I just needed the wake up calls. And so God's like, well, let's put you in prison. Let's, like do all these things so that you will wake up, like shaking me. Like some people just need to really be shaken. If you get if you're able to just like take the subtle hints to get on your path, I applaud anyone that could do that. But I was just really asleep at my life's purpose.
Well, Melanie, it's funny that you're making a nice, nice laugh out of it, but you're right. I mean, in life, we have to go sometimes through tough times to realize that we need to change because we get comfortable, right? And we get lazy and we do our things the way we think that the correct way, and we just keep moving with the motion, and that's about it, right? But then something happens, and there is not a successful person out there. I can almost promise this. I've read a lot of stories about a lot of good, successful people around the world, and historically, there's always an event or major events that happen that change their life for better, and that triggers for them to really get that motivation that they didn't have before the drive. Sometimes you hate something happening at the time, but you don't know the value of that event, the circumstances until later on, and you're like, oh, damn it, now I know why it happened. Yes, it was tough, but I realize now why. Because if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be here today. If that didn't happen, I wouldn't have made the changes that I made today to get me where I am today. And that's actually something that people should be always aware. First, never think that life is always going to be throwing good things at you. There's going to be some nice swerves and lefts and rights and different things that's going to come, from any angle. And you don't have to always expect it. Expect it, but you're not going to see it coming until it happens. Yeah. No matter how good you are, no matter what you do to be, a good citizen and do everything, it could be just a snap, one little thing, and life turns to chaos, right? And then that's when the change happens. And sometimes we take that as a recipe to reinvent ourselves and change and become this new person, this new, success. And some people actually go the opposite. And unfortunately, they just go destroy themselves worse, and more. But the majority of people tend to wake up after these things. And, as you take a minute to get all that and absorb it, and then you just refresh and reset. And when you reset, it's just no stopping. Now you did what most people today would probably want to do. And that is to be independent and still make, money. That's everybody's dream. Everybody wants to make money and do less, right? And just live the dream, right? And the dream is like, having resources coming in and be able to actually just enjoy life. But there is a price for that. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight. You have to work towards it. I mean, yes, you found something that you loved, that it worked. It was not a lie. It was not something that people are going to be, happy with. And then you saw the opportunity and you made it work, and you made it work. And all your things that happened to you, all the circumstances, the events that occurred around your life prior to that, as much as they were probably very pressing against you and your path, because it's hard. I mean, even if I think in your experience, you probably discovered a lot of people that were close that were not that close, or people that pretended to be, good friends and they were not there. I mean, normally when those circumstances happen in life to anyone, that's when you know who's your true friend and who's your, the people that care about you and people that didn't. And sometimes you'd be surprised some of the close ones, they're just not there anymore. I mean, listen, your husband left, right? So I'm not criticizing, but that's as close as he gets, right?
He was still there for me as a friend. We didn't leave on bad terms. Like, we co-parent so well. It just wasn't a good fit. I don't think he picked the best timing, right? But like, it just needed to happen. He knew he knew I wasn't going to leave. Like, I'm like, I was like, divorce, that's not even in my DNA. Like, and so, I'm so glad he had the courage to do it. What he did was not easy. And, people kind of go, oh, what a bad guy. Like, if you knew him, he's such a great guy, and we have great kids. We were not the right fit.
And by the way, that's the perception, right? So,
yeah.
You listen to it, you see it from the outside, like, what's up? This is the best time you need to hold on. But understanding, it happened, and, you're still in a good place. You have a good relationship, and that's excellent. But then, what I was relating to, or at least referring to, is the concept that when you restart in life, you're going to find a lot of obstacles, a lot of hurdles, like even your circles, like, your family and friends that you would probably want to reach out to first in multi-marketing level or those types of formulas.
Sure. Yeah.
You want to reach out to your close.
Me, because, that's the girl that just got back from prison, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're not going to talk to her and stuff. So it becomes very difficult to create that credibility that you need, especially in sales, right? You want to build that, like, oh my God. And it's not like it was something silent. I mean, you said you were the media, people know you.
Yeah, people know me.
So I could have possibly worked also for you, but again, at the end of the day, it's just, a balance. Some people will still see you for who you are and know why the circumstances happened, and it's not what really happened, but you just were, in those circumstances. And some people will crucify you, and that's the bottom line, but that didn't stop you either, right? That's the whole idea. So the idea is that you took that success is the only thing. You have kids, you want to raise them, you want to have provide a good life for them, and you want to reset your life. And now you went, like, to your point, exchanging work for dollars, right? Time for dollars. That's exactly the majority of us, right? We wake up, we're like, almost, people mentioned the word zombie. We wake up, we are conditioned. It was like robots. You go in 8 o'clock, you're on the road, 9 o'clock, you're at the shop, work, whatever you're doing, you come back. I mean, that's the majority, 9 to 5. And it doesn't matter if you do a weekend or not. That's usually the same concept. Mm-hmm. Very few people understand the world of business or entrepreneurship, because that's where really the true money is made. Like there's this meme, or it's a saying that I love, out of quote. You can make somebody's dream come true by working for them, or you can make your own dream by working for yourself and creating your own business. People will laugh at you, and most of the people will probably not support you. Listen, I own a couple of businesses too, and I can tell you, a lot of people don't support it because even the close ones, they don't even believe in you that you are going to do it or you're going to succeed in it. They're literally like, too many people did that. Didn't work for them. I don't care what happened to the others. I'm different. I'm going to do a different angle, whatever. I just need your support. But unfortunately, we find that, and you probably, had experienced that yourself. People will probably not be like support. Hey, good job. Yeah, you got this. Yeah, that's what you want to hear, but it doesn't usually work that way. And that's okay, because you just need you to believe and do what's necessary, and you're going to do it. And again, here we go. Today, years later, you are a success in a multi-billion company, mm-hmm. and you're one of the top, and you've also taught other people to do this and become just as successful.
Yeah.
So one thing you mentioned earlier about the multi-marketing or multi-level marketing formula, a lot of people are hesitant about that, and in general, I personally have been in some of those, and I've tried them. I don't like the concept because there's always the catch. Like, we have to buy a product, and that's it. And then you have to find other people to buy the product, and you get more. And that's usually the first pitch. And then you're like, wait a minute. So it's, I can only make money. I can bring more people in, and everybody's got to buy. So you're basically selling the product to the buyer, to the sellers, not to the agents, or the distributors, not to the public. So we're always going to be on the circuit. But in this case, the products work. The products have value.
The retention rate is what makes doTERRA a league of its own. Is we have 85% of our users are consumers. So like, we don't have to get our customers to sell the product. Like they will just buy the product. Like once they, once they share their anxious feelings, they're like never going to stop buying Serenity and Adaptive and Balance, so, it's like we have a 65% retention rate and 85% are consumers and never resell the product. So like that right there, other companies never tell you their retention rate and they never tell you how many customers they have. And doTERRA is so transparent. So, and I didn't know this when I first started. I just knew I wanted to share the product. But when I learned more about their stats, I used to actually do business consulting and chiropractic. And so I pay attention to stats and retention rate and leadership. So for me, it was like, wow, I'm so glad I chose a company that has amazing leadership, amazing culture, a product that's sustainable, that's retention rate, that most of our people are customers. Like that's the beauty. That's what makes it work. And that's what makes it really in a league of its own. And I do think it gets a bad rep because when you only have a 10% retention rate, you are constantly having to try to get your customers to resell. And like some customers, like they really just want to be empowered in their home. They're not entrepreneurs. Like,
and then that's just people.
Yeah, just people. Like you can't expect only 7% of people are true entrepreneurs. And so when you're trying to turn all your customers into business partners, that's what's annoying,
Well, there's that. There's also some people are just afraid to sell. Some people don't want to talk to people. They don't have the capacity to speak to others, and that's not them. Also, some people just don't want to be involved in it. Like to your point, they just want to be a consumer. I want to buy products. That's it. But again, you've taken the challenge, but it's a different background, different company, different, you said it, even the ownership, right? I mean, they took a leap of faith in their own financials and took risk. And they made it work with the promise that they can deliver something, unique. And they've invested into the quality of their products. I mean, not a lot of companies, would actually, to your point, and you mentioned about the organic piece where you have this inspector that goes into these farms and checks out like how the product, how's, this whole new year business is going, and they get a certification, but it's not really, you're not there day to day, right? Yeah. So those are different angles that your company has, obviously put in place. And they have been, in the market for long enough to build enough name brand, name recognition, and credibility. And that's also unique because a lot of these businesses may not last forever. And, people eventually drop out of these multi-levels because they don't make money and they don't even see the value. I don't want to mention anything on the show, but I've tested a few of them myself. I'm in sales all my life, and I've always done something on the side, to complement and supplement, stuff while I always look, to do a business and try to figure out something. And I've tested a few of them, and most of the time, like someone comes to me right now and say, "Hey, this is a great opportunity." I check it out. Not for me. Not gonna work, because I look at the whole thing as a whole.
Right.
You're not really. You just want me to bring you more customers and promise them that they're going to make money, but they're not going to make the money because they're going to stop at the first one. They're going to never make money. They're not even going to make their own money back, but that's the thing. So for people that are watching and listening, you have to do due diligence. You have to know which company you want to be affiliated with. And if you have the drive and if you have the personality and you really stand and the company stands behind the products that are services they sell, then you know what? It's worth the shot. Many people are successful in the realm of multi-marketing, multi-level marketing. So, and there are companies all over the world. I mean, there's internationals from Europe, there's companies in the US, all over the world that have these companies, and they're very big. And that's their angle. I mean, to your point, they don't go to distribution, to stores and supermarkets. They just work through distribution channels and distributors or agents, and that's how it works. And it's excellent, right? So doTERRA is the company. Mm-hmm. And basically people can currently either purchase the products direct or even join the company and maybe as a venture. Mm-hmm. How much do people need to have to get started in this program if they wanted to participate in it?
So what's really cool about the business side of things is a lot of companies will sell their coaching, like join my team and my coaching program, and they'll make more money selling their coaching than they will in their actual network marketing company. So in doTERRA, like all of our coaching is free if you want to do the business. So we have We literally have the best trainers in doTERRA. Like the top reps will like collaborate. Like right now, I have 3 top reps in doTERRA, the top rep in doTERRA and 2 other really like top 30 reps in doTERRA. And the 4 of us are training all of our 4 teams together, and we're not even on the same team. Like we're bringing them the best coaching they could probably ever get, that you could pay $15,000 for, and it's like free on our team. Because doTERRA is about like, we want to go out and heal the world. So we're not about making money on our side coaching gigs. Like we just coach our teams, and we even coach like other people's teams. We invite them. And so like my classes, I let anybody attend my classes. You don't have to be enrolled under me. Like join my class. If you do want to do the business and be personally mentored, you do have to be on my team. But to be a customer, there's enrollment kits. So the smallest kit has 3 oils and a deep blue rub, and it's $105. And that covers your membership. And you get 25% off for a year. When you do that, there's no subscription that's required. But if you do what's called their loyalty program, which is like their subscription, there's no minimum. But you get bigger discounts if you're on their loyalty program. So you get an additional 10 to 30% back. You get free shipping credits. So like if I do a $200 order, I get 60 points credited back to use like doTERRA dollars. I can purchase more product with it. So that's an On Guard and a Serenity I could have free the next month. So they have these loyalty perks for customers. So they have a great customer subscription rewards thing that they do for customers. And then business. So if you want to do the business, you do have to spend $100 a month on product. So it's not for customers. Customers can order whatever they want, although our average customer will spend between $75 and $150 a month. But a business builder has to spend $100 if they want to earn commissions. But the cool thing is like they don't have to order thousands of dollars of stuff and stock them in their, whatever, and have to sell them and be out that money. doTERRA as a business, they never let you spend more than you make. Like you're not even allowed to. So if I wanted to buy several $1,000s worth of product and I wasn't going to make that up in commissions, they don't allow it. So they don't ever let you go into this debt spiral that some of these companies, like you have to buy $2,000 a month of product and sell it out of your garage. Like that's just not their model. Their model is like, spend $100 a month on you and your family, which is super easy between like food enzymes and skincare and a few essential oils, my sleep gels, my On Guard hand sanitizer. Like I easily spend $300 a month on my family, my cleaning products, like everything is through, I have a family of 7 though. So like we're all taking our turmeric supplement. We're all taking our copaiba, which is like a CBD alternative. We're all taking our food enzymes, our probiotics, like our vitamins, our essential fatty acids. And so we have no problem spending $100 a month on ourselves. But one person could easily do that if you're including all of the environmental, the aromatic, diffusing, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, as a business partner, you have to spend $100 a month, but customers, there's no minimum.
Well, actually, that's excellent because, when you think about it, to your point, if you're going to use the products anyways for your own and you like them, we spend more than that in any store. You can go to any local supermarket, spend more than that in buying, products. You go to Costco and get a nice, couple $100 worth of cleaning, you can spend the same thing, but at the same time, now you can resell or you can have other people buy the products because of your expertise and experience with them. So it does work. It's not a big investment, when you think about it. Again, for being in a business, there's no business that you're going to buy for $100. I don't care what it is. Right? Your overhead
is going to pay you 7 figures where you have to spend $100 a month. Like doTERRA, like it's amazing. Like the downside to that is like sometimes if somebody only has to spend $100 on product for themselves, they don't have enough skin in the game. And so they don't actually like do what they need to do
to sell. Correct. Yeah.
Because like, let's say you're a doctor, like I work with a lot of doctors, they have a lot of money in medical school, like, or chiropractic school, even a couple $100,000 in medical school. You bet your bottom dollar they're going to go out and learn how to market their business, and they're going to hit the ground networking until they have 100 new patients a month coming in, and they will do whatever it takes because they just spent $200,000 to go to chiropractic school. You better believe they're earning that back, and they're motivated to earn that back. Right. So like, that's the thing is like, you only have to spend $100 on product for yourself. You might not put forth the effort that it actually takes, to be successful. So that's the one drawback, but I'm glad there's no risk, but at the same time, sometimes risk moves people.
Well, so people can join, they can stop, they can just remain consumers. They can purchase anything, any other month minimum or maximum.
Yep.
And they can also have orders. People buy the stuff through them and basically make the commissions, and they don't have to spend any of their money. So there's different ways to do this. But again, from a business perspective, like again, I don't know of any business that you can start for, like have more than, spend more $100 a month and be able to, I mean, these days you go to, I don't know, like a fast food chain and spend more money. You can go to a dollar store probably and spend more money than that. It is crazy. But you're right. Again, it has to be for the right people, obviously the people that can see the value of the products, use the products and take advantage of them. And also, maybe make again, why not make money? If you like something, again, I'll give you an example. I always say this in sales trainings. I say, we talk for a living and we talk in general. We can just gossip, talk bullshit, I'm sorry, and all that good stuff. But then, we can do the same thing and make money out of it. That's you're in sales and you can make money selling, right?
I'm going to be talking about natural medicine no matter what. I might as well be making money with it.
Exactly. So use your own talent, which is everybody actually talks. I mean, you look everywhere in the coffee shop, in the restaurant, in a crowd, people are chat. Guess what? Use that same, but make money out of it. That's smart, I think, but not everybody has that talent. That's the other thing. Right. It's not just talking. There's a style, there's an approach, there's technique, there's
I have seen the sweetest, most quiet stay-at-home moms become six-figure earners in doTERRA. I've seen a lot.
Well, because they believe and they know, because once they, again, that's also genuine. I mean, you're right. Because of the products, because of the quality, the products sell themselves. Once you establish that, it's easy. You don't have to do somebody
you get somebody like doTERRA. Anybody can really be successful in doTERRA, but I always say, if you do have sales experience or network marketing experience or business experience, you generally are going to grow a lot faster than your average person with no experience, and for me, I did have business experience. So I grew quickly because I had worked in chiropractic for 10 years. I knew how to run a business. I was running businesses. I was consulting businesses. And so doing the doTERRA as a business, it was just very natural for me. So yeah, most people aren't going to go straight to the top in a year, but do you want to earn six figures in 3 years? You can do that in doTERRA.
And there you go. I mean, that's a big number. I mean, most people work, I think a majority of people work either minimum wage or close to that. And I mean, the average American household income, I think it's been about 44 to 50,000 annual income. So when you're talking about six digits, I mean, that's pretty, cool for working and plus the independence factor, meaning that you don't have to report to anyone. You're working from home, you put your own hours, you make your own little shows, you discussions, you bring in people to your home, you go do presentations, and there you go. I mean, and you can even get investors to invest in your business. I mean, there's many ways to do this, right? But at the end of the day, it does work. And but I wanted to just ask a question that may, throw in a little caveat here, but I know the products are great and natural. How did you see an impact, an influx in the last 2 years with COVID and everything? Obviously, everybody's talking about immune system, building and stuff. Have you seen any more, an incline or real, a spike in purchases and memberships? Now, a lot of people, sorry?
Yes, we have. So when COVID hit, and by the way, we don't claim that any of our products cure COVID or.
Of course not. So, no, I'm saying, but for immune system, for your. Yeah,
but I'll tell you what, our On Guard line had a 400% increase in sales in April of 2020.
Is it because of that? Because people are trying to get healthy, or is it also because they were home, they were locked down and they need a business?
They're like, we're going to make sure we have On Guard for our immune systems and the hand sanitizer. And, they were like, we're going to make sure we have all this stuff in our respiratory oils and, our breathe essential oil. Like studies show that peppermint eucalyptus increase oxygen saturation. So that's a good thing to have when there's a respiratory issue going around. You want to increase your oxygen saturation so you can breathe better. Yeah, probably. Is it curing COVID? No. But is it enhancing your body's ability to breathe better? Yes. So, we saw a huge increase in sales in 2020. We had a little hiccup in the supply chain because everything was shut down. Not necessarily we never ran out of On Guard or Breathe or anything like that, but some of our stuff that requires third-party manufacturing, like shampoo bottles and, a couple of those small things. But I'll tell you what, doTERRA, when I talk about leadership, they are prepared for almost any disaster you could possibly think of. They're 10, 20 years ahead of everybody else when it comes to stuff like this. So little hiccups, but it didn't affect our business negatively. But we did see a huge demand in product and people wanting to take care of their health better. Because one thing about COVID is like, no matter what you do out there, as far as masking, if you get the vaccine or not, whether, we know that comorbidities are the key to the death rate. And so people are with cancer and people that are having obesity issues and people with diabetes and all those kind of things, they're starting to look and go, you know what, these are actually lifestyle, environmental health conditions, and they actually can be reversed. So as far as like type 1 diabetes, maybe not, but like, I do know of stories of people doing certain things to be able to reverse even the worst of autoimmune conditions and genetic conditions through lifestyle. And there's a lot of research actually to back that up. The problem is we're just not taught that. They're not taught it, and they're not taught how to reverse disease in medical school. So like, I have a good friend of mine, Dr. Jack Wolfson. He's the paleocardiologist. He's a heart doctor. He actually teaches people how to reverse heart disease in his practice, but that's because he got education outside of medical school. So if a doctor is teaching lifestyle medicine, they did not learn it in school. They get like a day or two of nutrition. And so they're just not learning how to reverse disease in medical school. They are learning crisis care. They're learning how to stop someone from bleeding out or stop someone's immune system reaction with a steroid or give them an EpiPen, or, they're learning how to cut a gallbladder out because it's diseased. They're not telling the person how to fix their gallbladder issues. I had kidney stones 3 years ago, and I remember sitting in I'd have surgery for these kidney stones. And thank goodness I'm in the United States with great hospitals and great gifted surgeons that know how to take those, they're so good at taking those kidney stones out. They know how to do that. Right. But you ask them to ask how to dissolve their kidney stones, and they're like, nope, we don't do that. You know what I mean? That's not what they do. They go in and they surgically remove it. And thank goodness, I'm so glad for that kind of care, right? But at the same time, they just do not learn how to reverse kidney disease. They learn how to treat it. That's it.
So Melody, you mentioned we're in the US. Are you available as a company only in the US or in other countries?
No, we are in, I think over 100 countries. There's only a handful we're not in. We're getting ready to open in India right now, and Indonesia is our next Southeast Asia country. So we have warehouses in almost every country. There's just a handful that we don't have a warehouse in. But yeah, so if somebody wanted to order from me internationally, they could easily go to my website, pick their country. I'd be their rep. Let's say they're in Spain, and I can give them great customer service. I have a huge international team of customers and wellness advocates. So even though I'm in the US, I take care of customers and business partners all over the world. So yeah, we're everywhere.
Excellent. So
doTERRA is so good with their international business. They just know they do all the work for you. They get in the country, they do all the legal stuff, they get the warehouse there, they take care of all the marketing for you. All we have to do is share the product. So we're really blessed to have such an incredible corporate team.
Excellent. Well, listen, that's what you expect, right? And certainly, being in all these countries does demonstrate that, you guys have been entrenched, in the marketplace, and you have a good brand. How can people reach out to you? You mentioned a website. So is that your website?
So they can go to melodywatts.net. It's not .com, it's .net.
Okay.
If you go to .com, you're going to get a real estate agent that won't give up her URL, even though it's not her name, the way she spells it.
Yeah, I guess the domain.
Go to melodywatts.net, which is MELODY watts.net. And then you can contact me there. You can get my free ebook, Essential Oils for Emotional Stress. And then also, if you go to melodywatts.net, teach me, you can sign up for my free classes. I do a half-hour class with practitioners on my team as the teachers. I teach it every once in a while, or I'll have a doctor on my team teach the class. We do classes on pain, on stress, on sleep, on kids, essential oils, on environmental toxins and how to shift, so every class basically catches you up on the last 30 years of your life that you didn't get to learn about how to use natural medicine. We catch you up in 8 weeks. So we get you up to speed. I always tell people, imagine how it would be if we learned this in first grade, how to take care of our bodies and how our cells worked and how our digestion worked and how stress affects our bodies. So we teach you that in this 8-week course. It's totally free. You can just opt in. There's no no money or anything like that. And then I do have a Essential Oils 101 class that I teach every third Monday at 6 o'clock Mountain Time. So if anybody wants to join that class, reach out to me. I'll get you registered via private invite. So melodywatts.net, just contact me on there, and I'd love to connect with you. You can follow me on Instagram, Melody C. Watts.
Well, listen, thank you. I mean, there's a lot of information, a lot of contacts, and definitely a lot of value. I mean, to your point, I mean, just the classes that you mentioned and the ability to learn these things, and there's no catch to it. I mean,
right.
And I'm pretty sure when people are gonna go through these classes and get all that good juice, they'll be like, "Oh, sign me up!" I mean, I want to buy, or I want to be a business partner. Either way, they're gonna be part of it. So I like it. I mean, you're bringing a proposition and a good value, and people will actually take advantage of it. So listeners, viewers, as you hear, this is an opportunity. There's no obligation to any of this. You can certainly check it out. There's no loss. There's no nothing. If anything, you'll learn something, and check it out. I mean, check out the site. I think we have a tremendous story today, tremendous information and knowledge about essential oils, and you have a resource now that can teach you more about that, and that's really our mission here. So I think we've established that. But also there's a discussion about motivation and inspiration in this whole topic today, and there is an opportunity to make money. So that's always good. Money is good. Nobody works for free. Nobody lives in this world, without making any money. You have to. Unfortunately, it's part of it's a means to an end. It's necessary, and if you can make a lot of it, and especially hitting those marks of 600, like six figures, income annually, and having the flexibility and the freedom. I mean, that's priceless. Yeah. I think that's really a big deal, and you mentioned mom's home and things like that, especially if they, when they have younger kids, that's big. But I think for everyone, there's an opportunity. Also, it can be, I think, a side gig too, income-wise. I mean, listen, I'm sure people can use, supplemental income. This could be another way to do it. Enjoy it for yourself and make some money.
A lot of my people that are like hobby, they're making between 25 and 50,000 a year. And then my people that are hitting it hard are making 6 to multiple 6 figures. I do 7 figures. So, and there's a lot of us that do 7 figures in doTERRA. We're like, I like to say we're glorified pharmaceutical reps only for natural medicine.
Listen, so you're drug reps, but you're natural reps, not
natural drug reps. Those of us that decide to go 7 figures.
Listen. I mean, it's amazing. Like we sometimes we have fun, but really, listen. I mean, even the pharma reps. I mean, they make some serious money, and
they do. They make multiple figures.
That's a good career as well. And I've known quite a few. I've met with them many times. But to your point, I mean, there's different venues and there's different types of approaches to care and healthcare in general. And this is a natural one. And it's not only good for you and your environment, and family, but it's also good for preventative. I guess general medicine, if you want to call it that way. And also it's good for your pocket and your lifestyle. So a true change in lifestyle from inside and out. You can improve your life, your body, your healing, your mental state, your financial state, and your status too. So it's all good. Nothing wrong with that. So Melody, I mean, we've actually hit a lot longer than the hour, and it was just fun. I enjoyed every minute of it. And I want to thank you. And I mean, it was a fun discussion and a lot of good, positive stuff. And listeners, viewers, I hope you've enjoyed the show. And Melody was tremendous and great. And you have the connection now with her direct. You can actually check out her site on the description of the show. So again, that's it for today. It's been a pleasure. I'll talk to you guys at a different show, different guest, different topic. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.